Hi, this is Randy Wykoff, the Dean of the College of Public Health at East Tennessee State University, and I'm pleased to share this week's update on the COVID-19 pandemic. This is for the week of June 21st, 2020. As you know, we've been following this pandemic for several months now. When we started in the middle of April, there had been 165,000 deaths around the world. Every week, that number has continued to grow, such that by today there's almost 500,000 cases, 500,000 deaths, 467,000 deaths in virtually every country around the world, and almost 9 million confirmed cases. In the United States, we've been following it from 45,000. In the end of May, it had passed 100,000 deaths, and now is at 121,000 deaths. By comparison, in the average year, influenza kills about 36,000 people, and we've had over 2 million confirmed cases. Now, as I've said before, actual number of deaths doesn't tell you as much as deaths per million. So if you go to Worldometer and hit deaths per million, when we first started following this, the U.S. had about 1/4 the number of cases that deaths per million that Belgium had had. The numbers have been rising ever since then, such that by this week, Belgium has seen a 66% increase, and we've more than tripled. But even though we've grown that much, you can see that we're still not at the level that Belgium was about 2 months ago. In terms of whether we're seeing a resurgence in the United States, one of the things we've been looking at is the growth of the deaths, cumulative number of deaths. In the beginning, every week we were seeing about a 1/4 increase. That dropped down to double digits, then into single digits, and has continued to drop. And this past week, we saw only a 3.9% increase in the number of deaths per million nationally. On the other hand, we've also been looking at the number of hospitalizations. And again, we saw the same kind of pattern where we saw a pretty consistent drop over time, such that last week it was a 4.1% increase. But this week we've seen a little bit of a bump there. So this is definitely something we need to watch, that as we reopen, are we going to start seeing more hospitalizations and more deaths, or is this just a statistical anomaly? We'll keep our eye on this, but it's a little bit worrisome. The other thing that's worrisome is we've been following the pandemic globally, again, looking at different parts of the world as they've grown, such that over the last week, the 4 most heavily impacted countries in South America grew about 18%, where the U.S. was a couple of months ago, whereas the 4 most heavily impacted European countries only grew 1.2%. And as I mentioned, the U.S. grew about 3.8 to 3.9%. So we still see a global pandemic. It's still growing in many countries. We've seen a decrease in the number of deaths in the U.S. in terms of number of deaths per million. However, it does look like we may be seeing an increase in hospitalizations. So this is a little bit of a worrisome trend, and we definitely want to keep an eye on it. For more information, please go to the College of Public Health website and click on this icon, and it'll take you to a number of short videos on different aspects of the pandemic. If you have any questions or any topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know. I look forward to trying to find an answer. Thank you very much.